Hey Connor, just wondering if you can maybe compare where you feel your game is at as a team heading into tonight compared to the first couple of times you faced Montreal and what some of the biggest differences are.
Um, yeah, I mean, we've changed some systems around a little bit. I think our confidence is for sure grown. I like where our game's at compared to where we were when we played them last time. That being said, they're a really good team. They're solid all over. Big, strong D. Good goaltending. Their forwards, all four lines can play. So, they're solid all over, and we got a big challenge up tonight.
At this point, we're not sure what's happening with Puljujärvi, if he's available or not tonight, but James Neal was skating with you this morning. You've spent some time playing with him before. Just a thought on if he ends up in that spot, what do you expect?
Yeah, I like playing with Nealer. He's a guy who's obviously a veteran guy. Scored a lot of goals. He's a smart player, though. I think he's. I like playing with him.
Mark Spector, Sportsnet.
I want to ask you about Darnell Nurse. You guys kind of, grew up here together. You came in, and you've been young leaders, and now you're both, more in your prime leaders. Can you just tell me about how he's evolved as a guy that, he's become a leader on this team, and how do you, I guess, let us in on how he got there?
Yeah, I mean, Nursey, he's an interesting story. I mean, he, drafted high and took him a little bit to get into the league, and came into the league and didn't play a ton, and now, I mean, you see what he's doing. I mean, he's a star in this league. So, he's definitely a huge presence in our room. A big leader in our room. I think he's getting more and more comfortable with that role. So yeah, he's been big for us.
You would be able to relate to this, like whenever he was taking chances offensively, and if it didn't work out, he was hearing about it. You're a guy that takes chances, and obviously lots of them work out, but he had a tough run coming up. He wanted to be a guy that rushed the puck, that joined the rush, and it didn't always go his way. Is it difficult to stay the course and to keep your confidence when sometimes it doesn't always work out that way?
Yeah, I mean, confidence is huge in this league. And finding a way to keep it is so important. I think, mistakes happen. Things don't always go your way. And for a guy like Nursey, he wants to contribute offensively. He wants to be that offensive presence. And, he's slowly turning into that. But I think for him, his bread and butter has always been his defensive game. I mean, his feet are great. He skates so well. He's big and strong and competitive, and I think that'll always be his bread and butter. And once he figures out the offensive side of things, which I think he has a little bit, I think the sky's the limit for a guy like him.
Guillaume Lafrancois, La Presse.
Good morning, Connor. A bit of an off-topic question, but regarding what happened in Vegas a couple of nights ago, now that we know a little more why Nosek was pulled from the game, does it raise questions or concerns among players as to how the league handles those situations like the one that happened this week?
I mean, I don't know really what the situation was like. I haven't followed it a ton, so it's tough for me to really comment on it. All I'll say is, it's a trying time for everybody, and we're trying to adjust. The NHL's trying to adjust, and we have to know that we're all trying to take care of each other, and sometimes these things happen, and we're all learning as we go here. So, not going to comment too much on the specific situation, but. I think overall we've,
Jason Gregor, TSN 1260.
Connor, you talked a lot about Jesse and just how different he's looked. Now you had a pretty good stretch of playing with him. His size and strength. How has it helped you or your line specifically, and what's impressed you most about how he's fit in on your line?
Yeah, I mean, he skates so well, and he's, like you said, he's so big and strong. He gets in on the forecheck and creates loose pucks and gives us a chance to forecheck the puck back. And sometimes he can do it by himself. Sometimes he can just jar the puck loose and someone else can come and pick it up. So I think that's the biggest difference I've noticed in his game. I mean, his confidence, obviously, he scored a couple of goals that, you probably wouldn't have seen him score, 2 years ago. So, and he's playing well, and yeah.
And on a little bit of a fun note, I heard the hotel in Montreal kind of created a massive arcade for the guys to play in. What's your game of choice, and is there anybody who's a stellar arcade player on your team?
Yeah, I mean, the hotel here has done an amazing job. It's obviously a beautiful hotel. They've made it very comfortable for us. Some stuff to do on a day off like yesterday. We play in the basketball game a little bit. There's the racing game or whatever, the arcade racing game that guys seem to have liked. Yeah, it's been fun.
John Worrow, the Associated Press.
Hey, Connor. Yeah, John Morrow. Just it's regarding COVID, and I know you guys are up there in the North Division. Seemingly, knock on wood, COVID free. You've not had the scheduled disruptions. Any idea what the differences are between what's happening down here and what's happening up there, and just whether you keep an eye out on what's happening here in the States?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we know what's going on. We see what's going on with other teams around the league, and they've been affected. Some have, some haven't. The North Division, hasn't yet. But I think a lot of it is just flat out luck. Like, this thing is so uncontrollable, and you don't really know where it's coming from sometimes. So sometimes you get a guy that's got it and it spreads like wildfire. Sometimes a guy gets it and no one else gets it. So it's so unpredictable, and we'll see what happens here.
Jack Michaels, 630 Ched.
Connor, just one question for me, and it's kind of a follow-up on that leadership. In today's game, would you and Darnell and Nuge and some other players meet as a group and then kind of set a certain tone, or is it less formal than that, where if you feel like you need to reach out to a guy, you'll just do it individually?
I would say it's less formal than that. The leadership group is always in communication, and we're always talking. I think there's a certain feel element, and you can see when a guy's down, and you can lift him up, or maybe there's a guy that needs to get going, and you can let him know that too. So I think it's not nearly as formal as a scenario you suggested, but the leadership group is always in constant communication though.